And there's a lot of factors that go into making a decision to go on the death penalty. Obviously, you got to consider the complexity of the crime.
While the state did not pursue the death penalty in the Alex Murdaugh double murder trial, of course, Murdaugh is serving a double life sentence after a jury found him guilty of murdering his wife and son.
Now, our team sat down with the entire prosecution team, or most of them anyway, and they asked how they came to the decision to pursue life without parole. Our Tara Jabor is live tonight with that answer. Tara?
Attorney General Alan Wilson told us that he supports the death penalty, but there are a number of reasons why it wasn't chosen in this case. He told us that there were a lot of conversations about this sentence, but in the end they felt it was best to go for life without parole. Alex Murdaugh is in state prison serving 2 consecutive life sentences for murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul. The state did not pursue the death penalty for a reason.
I don't think there's been a death penalty carried out in South Carolina in about 11 or 12 years. Someone could be on death row for 20, 25 years or more. You also have to look at the individual, and sometimes life without parole is a worse crime, or worse punishment rather, for an individual than the death penalty would be.
Attorney General Alan Wilson says victim impact was heavily considered. Several members of Alex Murdaugh's family sat behind him every day for the 6-week trial. We have a family here, and it's a very unique case. And we have to be careful, and we obviously understand that this is a family that is both the victim of this horrible, horrific double murder and all that Alex Murdaugh did in the years leading up. They were left in the wake as well. The other factor, time. The trial went on a lot longer than expected, and lead prosecutor Creighton Waters said if the death penalty was pursued, it would have gone longer.
You're talking about a 6-week trial. It's already an extremely complex trial. You add the death penalty to it, and we're talking about maybe a 12-week trial, and you're really adding in a level of complexity to it that in the end didn't seem to be the way that we needed to go.
In the end, the state says it was about getting justice for Maggie and Paul Murdaugh.
He's a 50-year-old man now in SCDC, and I think that that's the appropriate penalty for him.
And Alex Murdaugh is appealing his murder convictions, and the state plans to defend that appeal, but we do expect to hear more about that soon.
Thank you for joining us tonight. First at 11, a medical makeover at Cannon Detention Center could happen after the deaths of D'Angelo Brown in December and Julian Jenkins earlier this month. Our Kennedy Buck attended tonight's meeting, and she explains what decisions were made. Kennedy?
Tessa, the Finance Committee has approved awarding a contract to Vital Core Health Strategies. It would replace WellPath, the current healthcare provider. Even though some have recently called for changes, the council tells me switching vendors has been in the works.
Well, it's a very important part of our whole process at the jail that we have very good and competent medical services for people at the jail.
Calling for a change. Recently, all eyes have been on the Cannon Detention Center after the recent deaths of D'Angelo Brown and Julian Jenkins. It has led lawmakers to look into switching medical services for inmates.
This is a normal process we go through. We change, vendors change. We're going through the procurement process right now, which actually started over a year ago.
The current medical firm for the detention center is WellPath, and with their contract ending June 30th, the lengthy process to switch vendors began more than a year ago.
One of them did stand out among the other two, so our procurement people did their homework, and now they have to do negotiating with them.
And the one standing out above the rest is Vital Core Health Strategies. If approved, it can begin services this summer. The sheriff's office is involved in this process, but recently lawmakers began to question its operations.
Because at the end of the day, Sheriff Graziano runs this place. She's the one leading the detention center and overall, and so we need to make sure that there's some accountability there as well.
The sheriff's office released a statement. Officials reaffirmed their commitment to caring for inmates, saying, quote, "We take safety and health care very seriously at SACDC, and every tragedy within our facility is deeply felt by our staff. We have nothing to hide, and we vigorously adhere to policy."
The approved medical service change will now be read during the full council meeting on Tuesday night.